the episode 3. So welcome everyone. And yeah, so what we saw in episode 1 and 2 of My Liberation Notes is just the 3 siblings living out in Sangpo, which is, you know, a very rural area of Korea, South Korea. And so the 3 siblings is Mi-jung, Gi-jung, and the brother, who is Lee Min-gi. And I thought that all of the actors were excellent. They did such a great job in terms of all of their acting. And I have to give props to Mr. Gu, because he was pretty much silent and just kind of being a physical presence in the first several episodes. So I thought that that was really interesting. So Mi-jung has been dating a lot of random men who are not good to her. So she finally sees Mr. Gu. He seems like a stand-up citizen, gets along well with her dad, very hardworking, silent, very silent, which is pretty much her father, but a younger version of her father. So Mi-jung tells Mr. Gu, oh, well, I want you to worship me. And I found that that statement was a little bit odd because, well, worshiping someone, it just doesn't sit right in my brain because of my faith. So when I saw that, I didn't really think that that sat well with me, but maybe the translation kind of was a little bit different. I don't know. So yeah, Mi-jung, I think throughout most of all the episodes, she is struggling at work. She's not that well respected by her superiors because of her being a temporary status employee. But she has her fan club. There's this one girl who always hypes her up, and she's very cute. She's a girl who thinks that Mi-jung has exceptional talent in graphic design, much more so than the supervisor. And so I just thought that that was kind of cute, and it goes with Korean culture. I think that, you know, people are very good about being inclusive. So you're either in or out. And so she, one, doesn't seem to be doing very well at work in terms of her peers. They don't really interact with her very well because she's socially awkward, because she has to go home right away. And so she takes the train pretty much right as soon as the workday ends. So she doesn't have a lot of social interaction with her peers. But then what is even more like taxing, I think, to her is that her work keeps insisting on her, as well as this kind of like smaller manager guy and a very tall coworker who seems to be single. And I never really understood if he was single because he was widowed or he was divorced. And maybe it's because I didn't really pay attention when that information came out. I almost feel like he got divorced and he was left with the child, who is kind of like a tween or teenage girl. So I thought that was kind of interesting. So yeah, then those 3 keep having to be called into HR and sit there and get lectured, why don't you want to join a club? And basically the HR lady, she's not going to let it go. She actually didn't ever let go of her being, you know, asked to join the club. And she was actually just hard pressed, because I think that that was part of her job, making sure that everyone was socially active. So I thought that that was interesting. Then we get to a part where the older sister, Gi-jung, she runs into the tall single dad again. And so she runs into the older dad, and he's an attractive guy. And I think she's extremely embarrassed about the fact that he was a single dad, and she was kind of speaking in a not so great way about that problem. And then I thought that that was interesting. So to answer your question about watching the show. I watched it on Netflix and in the US, so it did really well. I don't know how well it did in Korea, but on TikTok, I mean, every other TikTok was pretty much Mr. Gu, I think his Korean name is Son Seok-gu, and he was being super hyped in all the TikTok video feeds. So yeah, I think all the interactions throughout this K-drama, everybody was pretty legit awkward. Like all their social interactions, there was always something a little bit cute or funny. Like the older sister, she just spoke her mind. Whatever she wanted to say, she said it without really thinking out, oh, if somebody heard me, would they be offended? Mi-jung, of course, she's super pretty, and even some of the people at work were saying, oh, she's amazing, she's so attractive, but she doesn't have a very good personality, or there's something about her personality that they didn't really like. So, and then the brother, Chang-hee, he was just entertainment. He was pure entertainment. I thought he just had a really fun personality throughout this drama, because Lee Min-gi, the actor, he's been in 2 recent dramas, one with Jang Nara, no, not Jang Nara, I forget her name. She's very pretty, where, oh gosh, it was something having to do with a house, where she was the master of the house and he had to be her rental agreement person. And then there was another one right before that where he was the owner of the house. And both, it seemed like he was playing somebody who was a little bit on the extremely introverted, socially awkward, didn't talk much type of character. So I was really happy to see him playing this new character on My Liberation Notes, where he was just a lot more fun, interactive, and kind of goofy, very, very funny. So that's kind of, for Lee Min-gi's character, I thought that was really fun. And then, so in episode 3 and 4, and I don't remember exactly which one, but there was a part of when Mr. Gu's character, and we only know his last name for the longest time. He was renting out a small little house on the property. He was working very long days, just putting in his time, doing a really good job, and then, but didn't interact with the family. He did go to the dinners for the first couple of episodes, but as soon as Mi-jung asked him to worship her, I think he just backed off. I don't think that he really wanted to be worshiping anyone or interacting that much, because you could just tell that there was something that he was running away from. So something that he was not comfortable with in his real world, so he was running away from it. And then he drank himself considerably throughout most of this drama. I think eventually in the later episodes, he did kind of shake off what I would call an extensive drinking problem. It didn't seem like it really disrupted his life, aside from the fact that he really didn't have a social life or anything else besides sitting and drinking. And but once he started dating Mi-jung, there was a lot more interaction of him meeting up with her, him dating her, and a lot less drinking, because I think even he realized, oh, it's probably not that great of an idea for him to be drinking so much. And I thought it was very interesting that the family, they had this farm, and then they also had this carpentry thing. So they were either farming or he was doing carpentry, very hard labor. And that was kind of the dad's job. Like, that's what he did. He, his wife just toiled away beside him. And whereas the husband, father, he seemed like he had a difficult job because he was putting in a lot of work. But the wife and the mother of the 3 siblings, she had extra work as well. She was cooking, she was feeding the family, she was feeding the workers, she was keeping house, and keeping her husband company. I mean, it was very, very difficult. So I just felt like her life was really, really hard. And hopefully she had no regrets, because she had 3 kids, she had a husband. So that was interesting. Like, her life just seemed like she gave up a lot for her husband and her family. But I don't know, that's kind of what I thought. And I think for me, what I really enjoyed about this K-drama in episode 3, there was continued character development throughout all of this drama. So not only did we see the lead actress, Mi-jung, and I think her name is Ji-won, she really stayed in character the whole time. Because normally when I see her in K-dramas, she's got that fun, spunky, extroverted personality. So for her to do a much more introverted, very sedate type of character, I thought that was interesting. And so it was different. She's still very pretty. Like, you can't take that away unless you do like Charlize Theron in Monster. I mean, she's just a very stunning, attractive woman. But then she really downplayed her personality and character to be Mi-jung in My Liberation Notes. And so that was very interesting to me, because normally she's so outstanding, outspoken. So for her to really rein in that energy was just interesting. And I don't really know Gi-jung, the older sister in this Korean drama. I've seen her in different dramas. One where she played a transsexual. So she's a female in real life, but in that drama, and I forget which one it was, she played a character who had originally been born male but transitioned into female, and due to that surgery, her family was trying to kill him, the new person who was identifying as female. And that was like new for me, because Korea and Korean dramas, I don't know about the society, but I do know that Korean dramas it's still pretty conservative, very conservative. Korea, I believe, was prior Buddhist, and then, Christianity and Catholicism really gained a lot of momentum in South Korea. So I thought it was very, very, very interesting. But yeah, so it's still a very conservative country. So that was one of the Korean dramas that I saw her in. Then the second drama was with Mr. Gu, or Sun Seok-gu, the actor. And they were a married couple. And I can't remember what drama it was, but they were a married couple. And she was going through some very difficult times because he was a philandering husband. From what memory serves me, I hope it serves me correctly, in that she was so in love with Son Seok-gu's character, but he was cheating on her and was not being very secretive about it. And so that was a very interesting, very heart-wrenching kind of storyline, because so both of the prior dramas I saw her in, they were both really sad. One is when she was a transsexual male to female, where her family was trying to kill her and basically just beating her up. That was sad. And the other one was where she was so in love with her husband, but her husband was just like what you would think, what you see on TikTok now, a narcissist. So somebody who is very much self-involved, very just not even controlling. I don't even think he even cared what happened to her as a character. So that was sad to watch. So I'm glad that she found a much more fun character in this Korean drama, because her character was extremely outgoing, super extroverted, and very different. She was very fun in terms of her style. So that's what I really liked about this drama, is that she was just really fun, cute, playful. And so that's what I liked about her in that drama. And then I am also watching many other Korean dramas, which I'm now going to talk about because I like Korean dramas. That's my hobby. That is what I like to talk about. I've been talking about Korean dramas since like 2013, and I've been watching Korean dramas since, gosh, the mid 1990s when they were out on DVDs. So you would rent a DVD of Korean dramas through the local place. Hopefully they had it. Sometimes people would get the entire series, but this was back when it was, I don't even know if it was how they received it from Korea, but you would get these DVDs and they would you could check it out. So what I am now currently watching on Netflix with English subtitling, because I know that that's kind of a question I get, Our Beloved Summer. So Our Beloved Summer, it's good. There are quite a number of pretty well-known actors. Like the lead guy, I think his name is Choi Woo-sik. He was in Parasite, the movie that did really well at the Oscars a couple of years ago. Like they won a lot of Oscars. Like the director did really well. And so Choi Woo-sik was in that, and he was also in Rooftop Prince from many years ago. That was a really cute drama. So if you haven't watched it, I highly recommend that. Then Kim Da-mi. So Kim Da-mi was in Itaewon Class, and she is not what I would not call her your traditionally cute, pretty Korean actress. She is very attractive, but she's not what I would call classically pretty, like Kim Hee-sun. Kim Hee-sun is like top of the top. Kim Tae-hee, she was also very well recognized as very pretty. So Kim Da-mi, very pretty, but not in that classic Korean actress sense. Like she's a little bit more edgy. And in Itaewon Class, she played a sociopath. So that kind of tells you what kind of character she can play. And what I think is very interesting about Our Beloved Summer, and I don't know if this was meant to be, but it is so much like 500 Days of Summer with, that really pretty girl from a lot of different shows, and that guy from Third Rock from the Sun. Anyways, it really reminded me of 500 Days of Summer. There's just so much, like the guy is kind of angsty and the girl is quirky. Certainly there's a lot of differences as well, but there's a lot of similarities. So if you like 500 Days of Summer, I highly recommend watching Our Beloved Summer. Plus the acting's good. Then there's a K-drama called Welcome to Wedding Hell, and there's only, I think, how many episodes? There's only 8 episodes, and it's about a couple who are trying to get married and all the different things that they are struggling with as they get through the wedding nuptial preparations. And I've seen this in a lot of Korean dramas where the families, they get really upset and involved because, the wife's family has to buy a lot of things for the husband's family, like sometimes fur coats, diamond jewelry, watches for the husband. Then I don't remember if it's the wife or husband's to-be family who does like refrigerator, bedroom furniture, washer, dryer. Like it's tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars to give to each family. I guess it's kind of like a dowry, but that's a little much. And I think that that's why some people, when you see in Korean dramas now, they are opting for a much less opulent or traditional way. They do small weddings, which is cute, less like hotel style where there's this grand entrance, fog, and lots of sparkles and a big name singer. It's more like quaint, cute, kind of like in a cute area. That's what I think is cute. So the two leads, the guy, Lee Jin-uk, he was recently in a Korean drama that is on Netflix Korea. And it was to do with a little bit like historical, kind of like The Goblin, but with a happier, better ending. I haven't watched it. I was gonna watch it, but then I just didn't because it was kind of scary. Didn't really want to watch it. And then Lee Yun-hee. So Lee Yun-hee, I saw her originally back many, many years ago when she was in the drama East of Eden with Song Sung-hoon. I'm pretty sure that was a Korean actress. And she was like this brand new actress out of like, I don't know, college maybe, or maybe still in college. She was so young, and she was, a singer, and she just very sprightly, very like just cute, bright personality. And she was the love interest to Song Sung-hoon, who was maybe almost double her age at that point. And I was like, oh, it could be believable. He's a very handsome guy, but it was a little bit different for me. And what's interesting now is that one of her co-stars, and she's kind of always with Lee Yun-hee's character, they're always like together trying to do wedding preparations. But that character was also in a K-drama as a love interest to Song Sung-hoon. She is also like a couple of decades younger than him. But you know what? More power to the people who cast these K-dramas. I guess, it can't always be the Ajuma romance or the Nuno romance. Sometimes it's the other way. I'm also trying to watch Change Days. That's another Korean show. It's more of a reality show where you're following, I think it's 4 different couples, and they're on the verge of breaking up. So what's happening is that they're dating each other. Like they go out on dates with each other. And I was hoping it would be like Infernal, Singles Infernal, which was on last summer. That one was a fun K-drama, and this one YouTuber, she was on that show. There was a lot of controversy with Gia, and her YouTube and her Instagram name is Freesia, like Freesia the flower, but it's a play on her name. And she was like being dragged on the internet for having, I guess, counterfeit or fake Chanel, LV, different kind of name brands. And then, so I think the conflict there was that she was being sponsored because she is a YouTube personality, social media personality, but then she was promoting fake or counterfeit goods. So I think her trust in the audience, it kind of fell off. But it's been many, many months, and she's now back. So that was very interesting. She was able to make it back. And then I've been trying to watch Inspector Gu. And so the lead actress, her name is Lee Young-ae, and she was in one of the most recognized, famous Korean drama where she was kind of like a female chef in the palace, and this was a historical drama. She did so well. And she had been out of Korean dramas for a long time because I think she was doing commercials and she was doing other stuff because she had done so well in that palace chef drama. So Inspector Gu, she is like a high-ranking detective, very good at her job, tracking down a killer, but then she also has some kind of like a little bit of a mental instability, and so I just didn't get into that. I couldn't watch it. Then also what I could not finish and I couldn't also complete was The Pirates, The Last Royal Treasure. It's a Korean movie. It's not a Korean drama, so it's only one full-length movie at about 2 hours long. Kang Han-ul was in it, or is in it, and Han Hyo-ju was also in it, and she was in a recent K-drama of like Paradise Days or something with Park Hyung-sik, kind of like a zombie apocalypse, infectious disease K-drama. I don't know. I watched the entire thing because I'm like, oh, it's kind of interesting. I like the actors, but overall, I don't really want to watch something that's going to weigh heavily on, you know, disease states or epidemics or zombies. It's just not my thing. I don't like it. It's not for me. Then, Kang Han-woo, what I did watch and I actually recommend, and I think I watched it, did I watch it on, I think I watched it on Netflix. It's Unforgotten. That movie, it's so good. I highly, highly recommend that movie just because it's thriller, there's a twist to it, good acting, suspenseful. I do recommend Unforgotten with Kang Han-woo. And he was really good. I especially liked him in Scarlet Heart Rio. That was a good Korean drama with Lee Jung-gi and IU. And he was kind of like the second lead male who was in love with IU, even though Lee Sung-gi's character was in love with her. That was lots of drama. And I was always hoping for season 2. They never came out with it. It's like, where is our season 2? We're supposed to have a modern day completion of Scarlet Heart Rio, but we didn't get it. I can't imagine why we didn't get it. It was so popular. Like, why not? So the next platform where I'm watching Korean dramas, because it is something that I really enjoy, it is on Viki. So if you want to follow Viki, they are there's somebody that I follow here. It's Rakuten Viki, and I think that they have such a wide variety of Korean dramas, like daily dramas, Chinese dramas, Japanese, I think Thai, Filipino, and I think they have different Latin communities as well. So Jinxed at First, I am trying to watch. I'm in like the first few minutes of Jinxed at First. I just finished Shooting Stars, and so, oops, I'm not wanting to watch it. I'm just gonna list out what I'm watching. So Jinxed at First, Shooting Stars I just completed. I'm on finished episode 2 of Yumi Cells. I am watching Uri the Virgin. That's pretty much a Korean take on the US show Jane the Virgin. Never watched Jane the Virgin, so I really have nothing to compare it to, but I think should be pretty good. From now on, Showtime. Okay, I'm trying to watch that. It's too otherworldly, magical, too much stuff going on. It's just so busy, and I don't really get the story. I did watch Beautiful Days, which was a story about a mother who was pretty much trafficked from North Korea into China, and then her pimp person captured her again, then trafficked her in South Korea. It was pretty crazy. And her husband from China, which was like a Chinese Korean who probably also escaped from North Korea, like they had kind of like a very depressing livelihood life. Her son actually came to track her down, said some horrible things to her. But what I liked about this movie is that you did get a nice resolution at the end. So it wasn't all dreariness, but there was a lot of dreariness for that. I completed Young Lady and Gentleman, but I gotta say that Young Lady and Gentleman, that one was just, it was a roller coaster of emotions. I mostly liked all the characters except for the fact that sometimes it was so ridiculous and they were rehashing how this couple will never get together. That was kind of annoying. All in, That is with Lee Byung-hun, Song Hye-kyo, and Ji-sung. And they are like huge A-list Korean actors. This was, I think, back in like the early 2000s. They were in a K-drama together called All In, about, I think, poker or blackjack. It's about casino. Even though in South Korea, casinos are illegal for native citizens to go into, but I guess if you're a foreigner, you can go in. I've never gone because I'm not into that, but I think that that's the case. I also went to North Korea, and our guide slash overseer, they took us into a newly built hotel, and it was a nice hotel. And I gotta say that it was well built for something that was kind of outside of a metropolitan area, whatever metropolitan would be in North Korea. But I thought that, you know, construction-wise seemed pretty solid, and they wouldn't allow us to go into the back area where I think if you're Russian or Chinese, you could go, where there was gambling. And it would have been nice to see it, kind of like to experience it, but it wasn't part of our tour. And yeah, North Korea was interesting. Very, very interesting and sad. I also watched The All-Around Wife. There was 122 episodes. So over last winter and through the springtime, I did get to watch it. It's almost like watching kind of like your friends every day. Military Prosecutor Doberman, that's with An Bo-hyun. Really big fan of An Bo-hyun. I haven't completed it just because there's been other K-dramas that I prefer to watch, because I'm not really into like military or violent K-dramas. I like more happy. Ghost Doctor, that was with Rain or B. And also one of my other favorite Korean actors, Lee Bum. He's very good. He's gonna be coming out again with a Gumiho K-drama. And then there's a few others that I'm watching, but nothing like that stands out in my mind. So that's kind of it. I'm now going to finish off this broadcast of what I liked about my liberation notes for episode 3 and 4. I'm just gonna maybe do a combination of the two episodes per each one. So thanks for joining me, and I will be uploading this to YouTube. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.